welcome back to my channel. Today I'm currently in Singapore and next to me is Nupur, the owner of Mira Singapore. I'm gonna ask her questions related to starting a soap making business. So there is this one question that has been asked by my audience, especially on YouTube. It's about how to legally start a soap making business.
Right.
And I like to know how it is in other countries, like in Singapore.
Yeah.
And I heard that you need a license to be able to make soap here.
Yeah.
So my first question would be, is that true that you need a license?
Yeah, I mean, it's true, and it's funny that it's only in Singapore. It's quite unique here.
Yeah, how is it?
So you don't really need a license. It's more like a permit, right? Like, it's not like a driver's license where you need to drive and show and then you get a license. No. So you have something like a permit, and it's more to do with sodium hydroxide than soap making, right? So like, because we use sodium hydroxide, which is termed as a controlled substance in Singapore, and so to have that in your factory or your studio, you need to have a license for that. So you need to apply so that you can have a license to store the lye in your space. So you can't really like move around with this lye outside of your space because you don't have the license. The license is only for this location.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's how it works.
So you can use sodium hydroxide in your home?
You cannot use sodium hydroxide in your home or anywhere else because you need a license for the particular location.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting, yeah. How did you obtain that license, if I may ask? Was it difficult or was it easy?
Yeah, I mean, it is a very lengthy process to actually apply for that license, wherein you have to first, you need to give the layout of the whole space that you're in. You need to show them where you're going to store it, how you're going to store it, what is your backup plan, like in case if there is spill, in case if there is fire, what are the emergency contacts, and what is your recovery plan. And it's a huge process, and you need to have a B1 factory to be able to apply for this license. So the first condition itself is that you need to be in a B1 factory, which is this space that we have. You can't be located in any place or like in a good mall or a nice fancy location. No, it needs to be in a B1 factory, right? And then the license is pertaining to this particular location.
All right.
Yeah, so it's a pretty lengthy process and it takes time. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have to pay for that license or?
Yeah, there is a fee that we need to pay, and every year we need to renew the license as well. And there could be random inspections to check whether you're complying with what all you've said while applying.
Okay, so it's interesting, like in Indonesia we don't have like anything like that for the license to use the sodium hydroxide. But yeah, we have another system like every product that we make, it has to go to the BPOM. It's like the HSA in Singapore.
All right.
Yeah, or like FDA in the US. Yeah.
So do they like sort of use it and see how it works, or how does it work, like the HSA in Indonesia? Like, do they do sample checks to see whether the ingredients are in compliance with,
they check the ingredients and everything.
Do they do like random checks, or they check every they do check every
variant of your soap.
Okay. So here it's like slightly different, right? Like, I mean, after you have the permit or the license to kind of have the sodium hydroxide, you then have to register like every product with HSA. Yeah. So we have to register that, and there could be random checks. But we need to pay and register like each and every variant as well. Similar to Indonesia.
That's pretty similar then.
Yeah. So it's a bit tricky in the sense that, like today I feel like creating this soap. I can't do that, right? Like you need to make sure that you have to register it, the costs are attached to it. So yeah, that's the limitation.
Now I'm gonna talk about the ingredients. Like, when you say you can't use the sodium hydroxide, how difficult it is or how easy it is to get the ingredients here?
So getting ingredients is not that difficult, I would say, but if you're in compliance with the law, which all the manufacturers would want, right? Like if I don't have the license and if I go to a supplier and say I want sodium hydroxide, they won't give it to me.
So you have to show your license.
So you have to show that you have the license, and then you can procure the ingredients.
Oh, I see. So yeah, that's interesting because in Indonesia, sodium hydroxides are readily available, like on Shopee or any other online
it's so tempting because I see it and I know I can't buy it. Right? Like I'm like, okay, this won't work, so why tempt me? And I get all these emails from suppliers from different locations. Oh, do you want this? And I'm like, I can't buy it from you.
Whoa. So not everyone can make soap here.
So that's the barrier, yes. first, obviously, that you need to apply for the license, and second, to be able to apply for the license, you need to have a B1 factory, and then you need to be paying the rentals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you need to have all of that in place before you apply for a license.
Yeah. I think the same thing in Indonesia.
Is it?
You have to have like one person that responsible for the production, and the person must be like a pharmacy graduate or something. So.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you need to like have that kind of a requirement before you.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. That's interesting. But I also feel it's good in a way. It's more safe that way, right? Because when you're working with sodium hydroxide or any other chemical for that matter, to just have it in your house or in a garage or something, it poses a risk.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's safer when it's this way.
Yeah. Now, I'm curious about you as a soap maker. How did you get into the soap making business? Like, what initially drew or attracted you to the soap making business?
So I just found out that Lala was an architect before.
I'm not an architect. I mean, I'm an architecture graduate. Yeah.
And I was a banker before, so.
Oh, banker! Oh.
So I've been in the wealth space, in the banking space for 8 to 9 years before I did this. Yeah, so I was managing funds and stuff like that. Interesting because I've always wanted to do my business, wanted to do my own business sort of a thing. I've been more on the creative side, I would say. I thoroughly enjoyed my banking stint. But at some point, like after my second kid, right? Because there was this time where I was, my contract had just got over and I was on a break. So I was like, if I go back now, like I'm going to be back in that thing. So this is the time, let me try it for a year. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I can go back, So that was the time I decided to experiment and so my daughter's school, like, they had this soap making session and they did melt and pour, and that's when I actually discovered that, anyone can make soap. Till like 5 years, my business is like 4 years old, right? Like 5 years back, I didn't know you could make soap, right? Like I had no idea. So that was like this whole world opened up for me, right? Like, and then I would just scroll YouTube and Instagram and I'm like, wow, this is so amazing. I want to give it a try and stuff. Yeah. So that's how it just rolled.
And it turned out you love the soap making business.
I mean, I've been doing it for 4 years now. I'm still not bored. There's just so much to do and learn. And then if you look at Lala's page, it's like the whole journey. I'm like, oh my God, I'm like here and like I got so much to do.
No, don't feel like that. When you say that you were having your second child, so you're a mother.
I'm a mom of 2 girls. One's 10 and one is 5.
Oh,
yeah.
Whoa, you look so young.
Thank you. Soap making keeps me clean and fresh. And nice.
No, so I'm curious about like how you manage your time, like juggle between family and business.
That's a good question, and it's so tough. And I think that's the most challenging part, I would say, of running a business, because when you're doing your own thing, like you can easily do it 24/7, and to be able to give yourself break, it requires focus and discipline, right? Like, and that's something that I've been trying to cut off, to have like these cut-off times wherein I'm just not thinking about work. It's very difficult, okay? It's not easy, but just to be with my kids and just to listen to what they're saying and not in the background thinking, oh, there's this email I need to reply to, or there's this content idea I have for a reel, those thoughts that keep popping, but you just have to like shut them and you're like, no, this is your time.
Yeah.
So it is challenging, but definitely in something that needs for our mental peace as well, right?
Yeah. Are there any challenges do you face as a soap maker besides that?
I mean, I would say for soap, specifically for a soap maker, I would think the inflation has been like a challenge for me. For the last year, I feel like the costs for olive oil is increased, almond oil is increased, shipping is increased. So for some of the ingredients like essential oils that I import, like the shipping is increased, And for soaps, you don't have that much room to charge more. Like it's not a product which costs $200 a bar where you can be like, okay, you can take in the cost, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of difficult to kind of keep taking that in, and then you're wondering how long can you absorb the costs, right? So I feel that to be a bit of a challenge to manage the costs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's one thing I'm curious about. So based on my experience, most Singaporeans are environmentally conscious,
right?
And I wonder, is it something that is taught in school, or where did this value come from?
I mean, I think so. When I started soap making like 4 years back, right? It had just started. I thought the movement had just just kind of started. It's Singapore. I mean, I don't know about other markets, but when I look around, I see that there's a lot more awareness. People are making the choice, and they know they can make the choice, right? So. When I do pop-ups and stuff like that, I love when I see the customers are like, carrying their own bags. They're like, no, don't give me a bag. Even if it's a craft paper brown bag. It's not like a plastic bag that I'm handing out. But they're very aware of zero waste. They don't want to get more, just to dump it in. So I see that trend there, like people are looking at the ingredients and what we're using, and they value and respect businesses who make those choices. So for me, like, when I started soap making, my daughter was learning about sustainability in school. And before that, to be honest, I didn't think much of it. But after she started telling me at home and started teaching me about how I should be, putting this waste in this garbage bin and how I should be using, it's sort of, I'm like, yeah, I should be doing that for my business. And it happened all at the same time, and then started making those choices. So now my soaps are all vegan. My soaps are palm oil free. We don't use plastic packaging. Yeah. So whatever way we can try, we try to like incorporate that. Yeah.
Small things like effects, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. I mean, to be honest, I mean, like as a soap maker or a business owner, there is a challenge to obviously source those kind of materials at a reasonable cost, right? When you go for sustainability, like I've always been looking for a sustainable bubble wrap. It is available, but it'll be like 5 times the cost.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things that we want things to be also reasonable for us to purchase, and hopefully that would happen as the trend goes further. You will see these things becoming more accessible for us to use.
Yeah.
So now I use the brown craft, the honeycomb wrap. The brown one in place of bubble wrap. So to package.
Yeah, I think that is one of the challenges.
Right.
I want to say I'm environmentally conscious, but I don't do it like very religiously. But I'm trying.
But exactly.
If there's like 2 options, the environmental friendly one and the cheaper one, sometimes I still ended up choosing the cheaper one.
Yeah, because I mean, if more people make these choices, like you, me, and stuff like that, maybe like the suppliers would start coming up with cheaper options and more sustainable options for us to kind of incorporate that as well.
I think that is my last question. I think that wraps it up. Do you have anything to say to the soap makers out there or the aspiring soap makers out there?
I would just say that, it's such an amazing place to be in. Like I've been doing it for 4 years and I'm still not bored. So there's so much more to do, like, in it, the field itself. You just have to keep trying. Like I'm still learning new things. And I was just talking to Lala about it. How do you make this soap and how do you make that soap, right? Like there's just so much to do. It's lovely.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much for your insightful information, and thank you for welcoming us.
Thank you.
And I think that's it, guys. Please make sure to check out her Instagram at Mira Singapore. Yeah, it's Mira Singapore, and do make sure to visit her store whenever you drop by in Singapore.
Yes, please do.
I'll give the information down below in the description. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Bye.